Have you ever felt truly alone? I mean, utterly isolated, with nothing but the vast, unforgiving ocean stretching out in every direction? Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of Stephen Callahan, a man who survived 76 days adrift on the Atlantic Ocean. This isn't just a survival story. It's a profound testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and the sheer will to live. Our story begins in 1981. Stephen Callahan, an experienced sailor and naval architect, had just completed a solo race across the Atlantic. He was sailing his self-designed 21-foot sloop, the Napoleon Solo, from the Canary Islands back to the Americas. Everything was going smoothly. He was living his dream, a man at one with the sea. But on the night of February 4th, 1982, that dream turned into a living nightmare. While Callahan was sleeping, a powerful storm hit. He was jolted awake by a deafening crash. Something, likely a whale, had rammed his boat. Water was flooding in, and the Napoleon Solo was sinking fast. He had mere minutes to react. Grabbing his emergency kit, his sleeping bag, and a few other essentials, he scrambled into his 6-foot inflatable life raft. It was a tiny, flimsy vessel he nicknamed Rubber Ducky 3. As he pushed away, he watched the boat he had built with his own hands disappear beneath the dark, churning waves. He was now alone, adrift in the middle of the Atlantic, with only a tiny rubber raft between him and the abyss. Imagine the feeling. The initial shock and adrenaline must have been overwhelming. But as the sun rose, the horrifying reality of his situation set in. He was over 800 miles west of the Canary Islands, with no way to call for help. His emergency beacon wasn't working properly. He was a tiny speck in an immense ocean, pushed westward by the currents. Many would have given up right then and there. But Callahan was a fighter. His survival depended on 3 things: finding water, finding food, and maintaining his sanity. Water was the most critical. His emergency kit had a few solar stills, devices that use the sun's heat to desalinate seawater. These were his lifeline, producing just enough fresh water each day to keep him from dying of thirst. But they were fragile and inefficient. Every single drop was precious. He had to meticulously manage his meager supply, a constant, nerve-wracking task. Next was food. The open ocean isn't exactly a grocery store. Callahan had to become a hunter. Using a makeshift spear gun he fashioned, he began hunting for a fish. His main targets were dorados, also known as mahi-mahi, which were attracted to the shadow of his raft. Catching them was an incredibly difficult and often frustrating process. He'd spend hours patiently waiting, striking and often missing. But every successful catch was a victory, a vital source of protein that kept his body from shutting down. He ate the fish raw, a primal act of survival. He even learned to attract triggerfish, which he could also eat. The ocean, which had tried to claim him, was now, ironically, his provider. But survival isn't just physical, it's mental. Day after day, the sun beat down on him. At night, the cold was biting. The relentless motion of the waves was a constant companion. Loneliness was a crushing weight. To combat the despair, Callahan kept a log. He wrote about his experiences, his fears, his hopes. It was a way to maintain a sense of order and purpose in a world of chaos. He tracked his progress, using celestial navigation to estimate his position. He gave his raft a name. He talked to the fish. He created a routine. These small acts of normalcy were crucial in keeping his mind from fracturing under the immense pressure. His journey was a series of terrifying challenges. Sharks constantly circled his raft, sometimes bumping it, threatening to puncture his only refuge. One time, a shark did manage to tear a hole in the raft. With his heart pounding, Callahan had to perform a desperate underwater repair, patching the hole while fending off the very creature that caused it. The raft itself was his biggest problem. It was constantly losing air, and he had to spend precious energy pumping it up several times a day. The floor was often awash with seawater, meaning he was almost never dry. He suffered from saltwater sores, dehydration, and starvation. His body was wasting away. He lost a third of his body weight. Throughout this ordeal, Callahan never saw himself as a victim. He viewed his situation as a chess game against the ocean. He had to be strategic, patient, and resourceful. He wrote in his log, "To be a survivor is to be an improviser." And improvise he did. He used every single item he had to its fullest potential. He repaired his solar stills with bits of rubber from his spear gun. He created a system to collect rainwater. Every day was a new problem to solve, a new test of his ingenuity. As the days turned into weeks, he drifted further and further west. He saw a few ships in the distance, 9 in total. He fired his flare gun, hoping to be seen, but each time the ships passed by, oblivious to his desperate plight. Each missed opportunity was a crushing blow to his morale. It would have been so easy to surrender to hopelessness. Yet, each time, he picked himself back up. He focused on the immediate task at hand: pump up the raft, catch a fish, collect some water, survive another day. He began to feel a strange connection to the ocean. He was no longer just a man on a raft. He was part of this vast marine ecosystem. He observed the sea life, the patterns of the waves, the changing colors of the sky. He described it as a sea-level view of the world. This brutal, unforgiving environment had also become his home. Finally, on the 76th day, after drifting for more than 1,800 miles, he saw something on the horizon. It wasn't a ship. It was land. He was approaching the island of Galante, near Guadeloupe in the Caribbean. But his ordeal wasn't over. The raft was being pushed toward a treacherous reef. Exhausted and weak, he had to paddle with his bare hands to steer the raft through a safe channel. As he neared the shore, he was spotted by 3 fishermen. At first, they were hesitant, unsure of what they were seeing. This emaciated figure in a tattered raft looked more like a ghost than a man. But then they realized he was in distress and came to his rescue. They pulled him from the raft and brought him to shore. Stephen Callahan, after 76 days lost at sea, was finally safe. His story is almost unbelievable. It's a raw, powerful example of what a person can endure when their life is on the line. Callahan later wrote a best-selling book about his experience, titled Adrift, 76 Days Lost at Sea. It's a gripping read that puts you right there in the raft with him. What can we learn from Stephen Callahan's incredible journey? It teaches us about the power of a positive mindset. Even in the darkest of times, he refused to give up hope. It shows us the importance of resourcefulness and adaptability. When faced with impossible odds, he found a way. And most importantly, it reminds us of the incredible strength of the human spirit. We are capable of so much more than we think. So next time you're facing a challenge that seems insurmountable, remember the man who survived for 76 days on a tiny rubber raft in the middle of the ocean. If he could do that, what can't you do? Thanks for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as I did, Hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales of survival and human endeavor. Let me know in the comments what you think is the most amazing part of Callahan's story. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.